Yeah, man. I mean, the Baltimore Ravens, I'll give you an example. At the castle, in the
Yes.
lunchroom, they had food color coded. Green means it is absolutely the best for you, the most natural, all both holistic, all that. They had a
I love
yellow, which
that.
means it's not bad. It's a little more high in fat than the green. And just make sure you know what it's gonna be, the green dot. Then they had a red dot, which means you can eat it, and it's meat protein, but it's also gonna be a little more high in fat. It's gonna be a little bit more in sodium. So the teams are really being a lot more mindful of
Mm.
giving the guys the information when they're eating, and it's huge, right?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the FilterLIFE Podcast. I'm your host, Dan Holmes. And today we've got a very, very, very special guest, my guy, Mr. Marques Ogden. You know Marques as a former NFL player, an offensive lineman who played for the Jacksonville Jaguars, our very own Baltimore Ravens, the Buffalo Bills, and the Tennessee Titans. Now, as a best-selling author, a business coach, and the host of the Get Authentic with Marques Ogden podcast. Today, we're going to go somewhere else, a little bit more personal. Marques grew up watching his father battle kidney disease, sitting in a dialysis chair and ultimately passing away from end-stage renal failure. Then he stepped into one of the most brutal jobs in sports, trying to meet the physical demands of the NFL while carrying that picture of his dad and his kidneys in the back of his mind. We just saw how serious this can be in the league. Last year, Jets legend Nick Mangold died at 41 from complications with kidney disease while he was on dialysis, still waiting and searching publicly for a kidney transplant. So today we're going to talk about what it's like to watch a parent go through dialysis, how the different medical staffs in places like Jacksonville, Baltimore, Buffalo, and Tennessee help Marques stay on top of his kidney protection, and how he learned to filter in what mattered and filter out the things he ultimately knew would hurt him. Marques, welcome to the FilterLIFE Podcast. Thank you so much for taking your time and joining us today, man.
You know, Dan, it was one of the hardest battles, one of the hardest things I had to ever deal with in my life. My father was my best friend. My parents divorced when I was 8, and our dad stepped up and raised us by himself with the help of my maternal grandparents. So my mom's parents helped to raise me and my brother Jonathan. Jonathan was a little bit older at that time, but I was only 8. So
Mm.
it was really, really important for me to understand how to be a man, how to go through life, how to do the things I need to do from my dad. And he was my hero, my champion. He was our provider, protector, worker, everything, taught us everything. But here's the thing, man. When my father got diagnosed with kidney failure, I want to say I was in my, 8th grade, going to my freshman year of high school, around that time. And it was really, really hard. Because
Mm.
my dad, unfortunately, his kidney failure issue was not hereditary. It came from his diet and his size. So my dad played college football at, of course, the Howard University Bison, and he was a nose guard. At the time, at his heaviest, I want to say he was around 450 pounds at his
Ooh.
heaviest, playing nose guard back in the late 60s, early 70s. He was one of the first, over 400-pound defensive lineman in college football's history. And when he retired from playing football after he graduated from Howard, my dad battled weight issues pretty much for his entire life. He go up, he go down, he yo-yo, he get on a diet, a Weight Watchers, lose
Yep.
weight, gain it back, yo-yo. There was time he would get down like 275, looking lean and mean, and then poof, he
Back up
ballooned
again.
back up. So my dad's kidneys just could not take the inconsistent weight loss and up, down, this, that, and the other. And they didn't know if it was going to be like 275, was it going to be 300 or 350? So it was really bad on his kidneys. And I remember when he was told he was going to have to do dialysis 3 times a week from 6
Wow.
a.m. until 12 p.m., getting a 14-inch gauge needle stuck in his arm and watching the blood flow out of his body into the dialysis machine. And he was there so much that his charge nurse, who I absolutely adored and loved, Edna, my dad became the godfather of one of her adopted children. And
Wow.
with me going to Howard University was only a 2 to 3 minute drive from the Washington Hospital Center. Or if I walked, it'd be like 15 minutes. Or if I took the
Right.
bus, it was the first stop, like a 5 minute bus ride, not even that long. That's probably about 5 minute bus between waiting for the bus and the bus getting there. And so I knew exactly where to go. I mean, the Washington Hospital Center was humongous, huge, but I
Yeah.
knew exactly where to go. And anytime I didn't have class, or anytime I didn't have practice or a walkthrough or gym time or weights or whatever the case may be, I was constantly at that Washington Hospital Center sitting right beside my dad. And again, it's interesting. They really did not allow people to do that because of all
Yeah.
the medical stuff like that. But because my dad was so loved and his charge nurse was the head nurse for the entire unit, they allowed me to sit in and right beside him when I was able to come and see him when he was on the machine and I didn't have any practice or school or any type of obligations. And man, to watch that for years. I mean, I would
Yeah.
literally go out. I was at Howard for 5 years. So again, being that close to him, I would constantly go and see him. And it was very, very difficult. I remember him starting out on dialysis, vibrant and spry and full of life and energy and
Yeah.
excitement and all that stuff, thinking he was going to get a kidney. And as time went on throughout my college career, and I saw it firsthand, at least once, sometimes twice a week, his spirit started to drop.
Mm.
His teeth started to decay.
Mm-hmm.
He stopped doing things like he stopped taking care of self-care. He stopped doing pedicures or taking care of his feet or taking care of his teeth or taking care of his clothing. He literally just stopped. He
Yeah.
started giving up. And I saw that firsthand. And let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen, when you watch your best friend, your protector, somebody that gave you life, that you absolutely love more than anything, go through that, it gives you a real different perspective on how rare and how beautiful life is because it was not pretty. And I watched that. And then when I got drafted to the NFL and I had to leave him and not be there like that, I worried a lot. But Edna was doing a phenomenal job of keeping updated on how I was. But when my father passed away, wow, man, I can tell you from the age of 45 until he was 57, right? I don't think I ever saw my dad drink a cup of water. I don't think I
Wow.
ever saw that. He would eat
Wow.
ice. He'd do ice.
Wow. Wow.
I really can't remember a time seeing him drink some sort of water. He might have,
Yeah.
and honestly, man, I don't even remember, honestly, in the last 12 years of his life, I don't remember him doing anything but eating ice for
Wow.
water, for liquid. Because again,
Wow.
because his kidney was failing, they told him drinking water is hard because your kidneys cannot process it.
Yep.
You can't urinate it out and it causes health issues. But I'm telling you, man, the last 12 years of his life, I don't even remember have him drinking water. And I almost don't remember him drinking anything other than, again, he would just take ice and bite on it. That way
Yeah.
it came in, but it would last longer and it would give him more of that effect where he felt more fulfilled with it than just drinking like water, which would go in and out and then would cause a lot of problems within his kidney. So, yeah, man, these are things I remember.
Let me ask you this. You talked about how your dad played on the line, right? Y'all got a big family, man. Y'all love playing on the line. So now he played on the line in college. You're in the NFL, you're playing on the line. You got to get big too, man. You got big dudes across from you, man. You got your big brother out there trying to push you around. You like, this ain't happening. How did you protect your own kidney health while knowing that you had to get big? I got to get big like dad did. Here we go. But I don't want to do the damage to my body. How did you protect yourself from that?
So what I did, man, I was very much in conversation with our medical staff about what does this do to my kidneys at this size? And it said, now that doesn't do good for your kidneys at this size. But if you can maintain a consistent workout regimen along with the size, it helps it in a much greater fashion to not end up like your dad did. Because again, what happened to my father, again, when my father was playing college football at Howard, he did not have the kidney issues. The issues really started to arise about 20 or so years, between around 20 or so years later, because again, it wasn't the fact he was big in college, it was the yo-yo effect from
Yep.
up, down, up, down, up,
Down. Yep.
down, all that kind of stuff, right? And so it's huge, in that regard. So again, at the end of the day, like I tell people, my dad truly, truly was my best friend. But at the same time, my dad also, he would tell you if he was sitting here today, that was one of the biggest things that he wished he would have really got under control was his weight. He
Was
would
his weight.
really wish that, yes, because it was hard for him. And then, my parents divorcing did not help him either with his confidence and things of that nature. So for me, man, I always just remembered keeping up the workout regimen, right?
Right.
And really making that a focal point because it was really important for me to understand that if I didn't want to end up like that, I had to stay active. I had to stay moving. I had to stay,
Mm-hmm.
I was a huge guy,
They
still do
do.
my running, still do my quick foot, still do my, all these things to keep myself as active and streamlining as possible.
Now I see you today, Marques. You look good, man. You done dropped some weight. You look healthy. You look active, man. How do you keep this going, man? What kind of things, us being the Filter Life podcast, what kind of things are you filtering in and out of your life right now to kind of
Woo!
maintain where you're at right now?
So about 2.5 years ago, my right hip started to act up really bad. And I went to the doctor and I got an x-ray and I saw that I had almost no cartilage in my right hip between my
Ooh.
pelvic bone and my hip bone. So I tried PRP. I got some minor relief. And then I was considering a hip replacement, but I'm still pretty young, 44 at the time. And I ended up meeting Dr. Harry Adelson, who is a stem cell doctor out of Park City, Utah.
Mm.
Dr. Adelson was a guest on our podcast, and he told me about full body stem cell injection procedure. And I fell in love with what he talked about. And I was actually heading out to Park City anyway for a vacation.
Wow.
And he was out there, and I decided to go to his clinic and get the full body stem cell injection procedure. That was about 6 months ago. So at that time, right then, Dr. Allison said, Marcus, when you get this procedure, we encourage you not to drink for the next 2 months to help it settle, to help you
Mm.
feel better. I was like, all right, bet. So I did that. So 2 months went by. I said, man, I don't miss it. It's still just now 3 months, now 4 months. Now I'm almost 6 months without alcohol. So that's number one. Number two is I found a phenomenal sponsor of our podcast, US Wellness Meats. They're out of Missouri. They've been
Mm.
in business for 26 years and counting. They are all grass-fed beef, chicken, lamb, everything. So I'm getting
Wow.
better quality of meat. I'm eating more vegetables. I was essentially, I went to the doctor like early to mid-January, about 8 to 12 weeks ago, right? And I talked to my doctor and I was getting a checkup and I was like, oh my gosh, man, I felt great, size and all that, but my weight was still high, right?
Mm-hmm.
And my blood pressure was a little bit high. So I remember my doctor coming in and asking what I was eating. Said, well, I'm eating a lot of canned vegetables. And then she said, right there,
Right
the
there.
salt, the
Sodium.
preservatives, it's the sodium. I was like, oh, she said, get frozen vegetables,
Mm.
microwave them, and that's what you eat. They are even better than fresh vegetables because fresh vegetables have pesticides on them. The frozen have no pesticides. They don't have any type of preservatives. They're in there and they keep good with the temperature. So I started eating those. Again, frozen spinach, frozen Brussels sprouts, frozen greens. And again, man, I've always been a workout person, right?
Yeah.
At 5:30 a.m., football, once, twice a week, lifting 6 times a week, core, you name it, walking more. And with the stem cell, I'm finally getting to a point back where I can now walk without pain. And it just
Mm.
takes about 9 to 12 months to heal. I'm about 6 months in, but I
Okay.
can feel the difference in a
You
major
can.
way. Oh yeah.
Good.
Oh yeah.
Good.
Oh,
Oh,
I can
wow.
walk better. I can sleep better. I'm able to pop out of bed better.
Okay.
I'm able to now, like, what,
I
six
mean,
months ago, I couldn't tie my shoe.
mid-40s, man. Look,
Couldn't tie my shoe.
getting out of
Couldn't
bed is
tie my
hard
shoe.
sometimes. Yeah, I get
Now,
it.
now I can tie my shoe, all this stuff. So again, man, it's the whole process. So I'm very big now on what I eat meat wise. Like for example, I went to Cheesecake Factory today for a business luncheon. Normally I would get like, okay, I get stuff, oh, maybe I'll get chicken fingers, and I still wouldn't eat like bad. Like, oh, today I had miso salmon with brown
Mhm.
rice and spinach.
See,
That's
look,
what
you're
I
being
ate.
intentional. You're being intentional. So
Intentional,
you're
right.
being intentional, right? And I love that point, because if you're not intentional, you get swallowed up by the system. You get swallowed up by what's on the grocery store and on the shelves. Maybe you grab the fresh, like you said, the fresh fruits and vegetables, but you're not realizing the chemicals and the stuff that they put on top of that. So unless you're eating out the organics expensive section, you should probably be better off just going to the frozen section, which is pretty cool,
Amen.
right? So I like that, man. That's good recommendations for our people, man. Now, you traveled around. Your NFL career, you traveled all around the country on different teams. Team. How was it with your diet? I mean, they're trying to pump you up to make you as big and strong as possible. Did they ever talk to you about like a renal diet or a heart healthy diet? Was that ever pushed to you, like in your endeavors through the NFL?
Yeah, man. I mean, the Baltimore Ravens, I'll give you an example. At the castle, in the
Yes.
lunchroom, they had food color coded. Green means it is absolutely the best for you, the most natural, all both holistic, all that. They had a
I love
yellow, which
that.
means it's not bad. It's a little more high in fat than the green. And just make sure you know what it's going to be, the green dot. Then they had a red dot, which means you can eat it, and it's meat protein, but it's also going to be a little more high in fat. It's going to be a little bit more in sodium. So the teams are really being a lot more mindful of
Mm.
giving the guys the information when they're eating. And it's huge, right? It's really, really huge. So
How's
I
the
think
culture
that's the
around
big
that?
factor.
Did you guys adopt that culture, or were they like, man, I ain't eating that, man, or I'm tired of practice, man, I'm eating the red today.
So,
You know
I
what I
mean, yeah,
mean?
it's saying like, man, everybody was different. If you were trying to keep weight on, you eat more of the red dot food, right? If you're trying to stay slim and trim, you eat more of the green food. If you're like in the middle, you eat yellow. Like, so everybody, again, they wanted some guys to eat food that was higher in fat, some like receivers or corn or
Yep.
stuff like that, because they were going to burn it off more. Some guys who were linemen who were already big, they were like, ah, man, you don't want to go over weight limit, so probably go green or yellow. So again, they were very much informational driven. They wanted us
Mm.
to know what it was like and how it was going to be, in that regard.
Yeah. That's got to be interesting, man, because you got the coaches, man. We used to push our players, man. Like, we need you bigger, I need you faster, I need you stronger. Like, that's what the industry needs, and they're just pushing more and more and more and more out of you. But when you do that, you're asking the organs on the inside. Our organs don't get to have push-ups. You don't get to do push-ups for the lungs. There's other ways that you can work those muscles and those organs. And talk to me a little bit about, throughout your professional career, how that became important to you. Not just the physical, but the inside, your organs, and then of course you got to protect that mental.
So that's where the doctors that you see on the team, and then you might want to see your own doctors or get second opinions if necessary, is everything. So for me, I always use the team doctors. I got to know them. They know your family history. They were very much aware of our father's kidney failure issue,
Mm,
along with high blood pressure in our family, from my father to my grandmother to my mother to my grandfather to my brother. So these things were they were very cognizant and very aware of these things. And
good.
this allowed them to give us information based off our family history, based off how we were feeling, based off our blood work, to give us the best opportunity to get things done in the right way. So again, this is where you say, like, when you want to talk about eating, you can either go dietitian or you go people in the kitchen, right? You talk about training and lifting and getting yourself faster and stronger and all that, you go to the trainer or to the weight the strength coach. When you talk about your
Yep.
internal, that's your internal medicine doctor. That's
Mm,
your internal medicine specialist. Again, I didn't just say doctor, I said internal medicine specialist
specialist.
doctor. because those are people that can look at everything
Yes.
from the whole perspective. I started getting like checks for prostate cancer, all this stuff at 40. Like, I mean, my doctor was like, at 40 years old, we were doing all that. So blood work, PSA, prostate, I mean, all that stuff, colon, you have any blood in your stool or any of that stuff, man, how your kidneys look, like everything was fully tested. And that's why I say going to an internal specialist over a family practitioner is, I feel, bad, because an internal specialist can look at everything, not just your body, but your body plus your family history, plus your blood work, and can give you the best informed decisions on how to move forward in your health journey by analyzing your past, what's your family history, your present, where you are, and then your future, where you want to be.
Now, your experience with your specialist, did you ever find that you got more time with your specialist? Like they were specialized, so did they give you that special attention that you needed and help you really understand what was going on? Because you got your team doctors, and then you got, okay, well, team doc is trying to get me on the team and try to get me ready for team stuff. But I also have to be Marcus, and I got to be dad and husband and all the things, right? So you got to stay healthy there. So you're seeing your private doctor. Are you getting more time with that doctor when it's, specialized than when you're getting farmed through the system to try and be bigger, better, faster?
Yeah, I mean, because the specialist looks at everything, right? Not just you, it's family history, it's potential threats, it's a lot more in depth. And again, going to your regular doctor or the team doctor was not a problem. They were good, but the specialist was more thorough, just because looking at not just you, but you plus family history, plus where you are, what the trends are looking like, what could happen, what might be. If you stay away from this food, it can help you here. If you add this food, it can help you there. So again, the specialist is just going to be a lot more thorough, right, in every way, because they're looking at everything plus family history, plus some of the potential, trends and signs based off the data. So again, that's why I always saw, especially because I wanted to get not just checked out, I wanted to get a full tune up, a
Yep.
full comprehensive exam, because that way you can know. For example, like when I do like my brain and body assessment with the NFL every 5 years, that's a 3-day process. They're
And they
checking
still do that with
everything.
you. That's
Blood
awesome.
work, kidneys, liver, blood, PSA, colon cancer, neurological, mind, memory, short term, long term, facial, which you can see as far as views, you name it, they've done it.
So what
So
I'm
it's
hearing is
huge
that
in that
you got to
regard.
have multiple people in your circle.
Yes.
Not just one. You got to
No.
have the mental health doctor, the specialist, the internal medicine doctor, the primary care doctor. You got to have in my case, you got to have the kidney doctor, the pathologist, physiologist, the whatever. You got to have them all. The more the better, right? The more the
Of
better. The
course.
more the merrier for your
The
situation.
more the merrier. Of course. The more you have, the more likely you are to be able to catch things ahead of time. And again, this is why, again, my specialist, right? Again, trends. My
Yeah.
specialist doctor, after I retired, I turned 40. I was at 40. Yeah, I was 40. And I remember Chadwick Boseman unfortunately passed away. So he said, Marcus, I know you're not going to like this, but I'm going to test for colon cancer with the finger and prostate cancer. I'm sorry. It's just, I'm going to check your prostate and your colon, and we're
Mm.
going to go finger. And if you don't like it, that's okay. But if we find something, we can find it early. We can address it. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. The trends, right?
Mm-hmm.
If that, again, God rest his soul. But when Chadwick passed away, I feel, it's just my opinion, I could be wrong, that he probably saved a lot of lives, because I'm sure more specialist doctors were going to be testing, especially their
Start paying more
younger
attention.
African American clients and patients.
Now, we had an NFL player last year pass away from kidney disease when he was waiting for, I think his name was Nick Mangold for the Jets, was looking for a kidney, went into kidney failure, and passed away while on the list. There's so many people that end up expiring while we're just waiting for the next kidney. And that window of opportunity is not always as long as we want it to be. You know, you experienced that with your father and your dad trying to look for a kidney and those kind of things. Marques, I want to switch gears real quick because we have a lot of the younger demographic of people that following us, our Black and our brown communities that get forgotten about, the athletes that are out here getting pushed. I'm in South Florida and coached football for a long time. And the way that the industry pushes these young men to destroy their bodies before they're even fully grown. You made it to the top, man. You made it all the way to the NFL and thrived through the NFL. What advice are you going to give to the guy, the young guy that's right now probably in the gym? Maybe he's listening to our podcast because he cares about his health, but we don't want him to destroy his body. Is there things that he can do to still accomplish the greatness and maybe make it to the top like you did without destroying his body?
So what I would tell him is, just like we said, get and find more people in your inner circle, not just your team doctor, not just your regular practitioner. Try to find an internal medicine specialist that you can go to and see. They can give you trends and things to do to help improve organ, use, like how to do things to help you have a better, stronger heart, how to do things to have a healthier, stronger liver, how to do things to have a healthier, stronger kidney or kidneys, right?
Yep.
Everything's about information. Go and find people to get as much information as possible. Information is your Willy Wonka golden ticket. The more information you have, the more you're able to decipher what you should be doing and what you shouldn't be doing to help you have the best opportunity to have your organs operating at a high level.
Man, I love that, Marques. I love that. Listen, I appreciate your time today. Right before we go, I got to get it from you. What does FilterLIFE mean to Marques Ogden today?
What it means is giving people information, giving people resources, giving people knowledge to help them make decisions to give themselves the best chance for a long-filled life. That's what it's about.
Yes,
Giving
it
people
is.
that knowledge, that information, those resources to make the decisions that are most informative for their health, for their wellness, and for their future.
Man, well, you guys heard it. You heard it from the GOAT himself, man. Marques, thank you so much for your time today. Thank you for joining us and our followers on the FilterLIFE podcast, man. You and I will definitely stay connected and stay up with us, man. Thank you so much for coming
Always,
today.
man. Appreciate you having me on, big dog.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Thank you so much.